All right, we're gonna call the meeting back into session. We're moving back in session from executive session. And we're going to open up the discussion for potential changes to membership. I'm sorry, wait, no. Discussing our candidates, right? I'm sorry. So we're have our discussion to open up for candidates.
Okay, so it's open for discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so based on the scores and on our review of the applications, I make the recommendation that we recommend the three candidates with the highest scores to be appointed, I guess, recommended to the council. That they make the recommendation to the governor for their appointment. And those people are Lauren Womack, Tony Piontek, and Tamara Darby.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. We need a second.
Wouldn't it be good to consider a youth going through the system to recommend to the governor?
It would, but since we have a motion on the floor, we either have to second it or it dies.
And can the chairperson second it?
Oops.
No.
Okay.
That's all I'm going with. Yeah, I can't do any seconds.
Okay, so but
I
that's
can
kind of
vote.
weird. So if we say we would totally disagree, it can't come up.
Well, right, I mean, there is,
Moment.
right, she serves as a tiebreaker.
Okay,
Yeah. I'm the tiebreaker person.
okay.
Okay, so with no second, this motion dies. Is there a counter motion?
The counter motion?
I would like to make the recommendation that we recommend Tony, Lauren, and Mary Francis to the governor for appointment.
Lauren, is that right?
How many staff advocates do we currently have on the council? Because we have to have 7, right?
Hold on, I count. With our current openings? Is that what you're,
Yeah, not counting the currently going there.
Yeah, we have 3 that are currently serving in unexpired terms. Then we have these 4 seats that we're trying to fill now. So we had a resignation. We had one person who was formerly chosen by a past membership committee who had some life circumstance changes later on and decided to not finish the appointment process. And then we have institutional seat, which is currently expired, and another sub-advocate who has turned out as well.
I can't make a motion, huh?
So there's no second for Vivian's motion.
Mhm.
So it seems that the issue is between whether or not to include someone who would maybe be more of a youth advocate. Okay.
And I also have, I mean, what I'm thinking about it is, because I can certainly see the value in what Vivian's saying. I know that you said that we don't have a racial component. But we would have, and that's why it's who are our other councils, I could think about it. And if you just look at our self-advocates, we do have a disparity in racial. If we go with three, non-minorities. And right now, all I can think of is we have one minority member that's a self-advocate. And so that would also, I'm just weighing it out, and I don't know. And also I'm thinking about having men on the council, because we always have and I know that's not something that but that's also just something to consider, is that we need to have the experience of men.
And I didn't consider the first point you made. I like Tony and I want a youth. We can maybe switch out Lauren with Pam.
Okay. So I like what Vivian was saying about Mary, because nice fresh youth coming in here would be a good perspective, and she gets to learn. And I would pick Lauren and Pam, but then Tony, we do need males.
And I'm also considering like leadership. We don't just need someone to come in the meeting and listen and be nice and friendly, and we all like them. We need self-advocates who do have the confidence and, to be able to speak on at least their experience.
Right.
Like, you don't have to be an expert on the system, because I don't think any of us ever become experts on the system, but that they will be vocal at least on their experiences. And so that's to me an important thing to consider as well. And that doesn't bring us any more clarity.
No.
These are all really good candidates.
I know.
They are. I would pick all four of the ones that we have in front of us, but we have to fill our federal requirement. So it just makes it difficult, because all four of these people are really the people that I feel can bring some good to the council.
And we don't have any other, like, of the parent seats that are coming up, or, because we don't have to have.
We will have parent seats coming up, but
Mhm.
we don't have any currently.
Okay, these are all the seats that are vacant.
Yeah,
It's
it's still
three. There's only three that we could fill. Okay.
Okay.
Um,
And it's gonna be rough, because we don't have everybody in the committee here. By having 5 people, like, she doesn't look, their ones is kind of different. Both of their motions is the same sort of kind of, but I can't break the motion. So even with 3 people here, we sit in like kind of, we need like 4 people. Like, you need another person here for it to really have a productive, meeting where we can get at least a vote in, or a motion where we can vote.
and I don't have a problem if it ends up being any of these 3 are good. I just want us to really,
Take into consideration.
yeah.
Yeah, me too, because I think it's important that we include youth and youth experience and empower the younger generations as well as the older generations.
Mhm.
Because we still need advocates from younger generations, especially because the old people are amazing. Older advocates are great, but they're not going to be here forever. And we need to focus on younger generations as well.
So I'll go with, I'll go ahead and second that motion that Vivian made.
Any objection?
Yeah.
Okay, any objections? I mean, it was just us.
Public comment.
Any public comments? Okay, well, the motion is passed. So we're gonna take this to the council on Thursday. So they can see that we have 3 potential people that we're going to put up for appointments.
Yep.
So we're fine with that, okay.
You may just want to mention that y'all decided to put out the application again for the federal.
For yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll definitely, can you add that on there, Amy? Cause we're gonna keep that one seat open so that we can meet our federal requirement. Okay, so now we're gonna, we're gonna move into discussion of potential changes for membership for, committee procedures. So I know, we've been working upon just some guidelines on how we can make the interview process a little bit better so that when other member committees come upon this committee, they'll be able to have something to go by, like a guideline or, a rubric, so that we all doing the same thing consistently. So we don't have to keep on going through all of this, like we only have one person interviewing. I don't agree with that. We should have 2 people interviewing at all times. Just so that they, everybody, 2 different people perspectives upon it. And then I feel like we all should have the applications, everybody's application, regardless if we're interviewing them or not. We should have that. And as far as like the selection progress part, I know some people do Zoom, I know some people do phone calls. Everybody, I feel like that part can be communicated within the 2 people, because sometimes the Zoom works better, sometimes it doesn't. Because we tried the Zoom and that didn't really work out when we tried to do it, because that person didn't have good connectivity and they kept dropping calls. So we just did it over our phone. So I would at least leave that option open, what everyone works for.
Can I ask a question? When you use Zoom, are you using your own Zoom account? You're going through the DD Council Zoom?
Right, see, that's my whole thing. See, I have a Zoom, I have a business, and I have 2 different Zooms accounts. So I just use my business
Yeah,
one,
and
yeah.
I was just wondering if that would be a barrier to some people on the council interviewing, like if they needed to if you needed to be facilitated by staff, you guys could do it.
But then if we
Right.
do that, would that like spark up a quorum and that kind of stuff? Like,
Staff.
no.
Yeah, not with staff.
Okay, so if we do the Zoom, I would prefer that we go through you all to at least just set it up so that we can have, everybody have that link. And that would make way more sense, because we could just set it up like, this is our link for the membership committee. So you don't have like, you're doing it off your personal, I'm doing it
Well,
off.
I'm not doing it off my personal. I mean, like ours worked out good. Like I've had with you, and then I've done it with Angela last time. And so we could do it at our convenience and not have the staff. I could set it up. And whatever.
Oh,
So we
yeah,
did it, we did
okay.
ours in the evening. We did it on Good Friday morning. So like we did it
Okay.
after hours. So it was okay.
Okay,
But if we didn't have that, it's just good to know that we then go to the staff and they will help.
right, and
us
they
with
have that option, yeah.
Because I think that the Zoom is really good, gives you an opportunity to see how a person interacts. Because this is a very personal interactive body.
Yeah,
So like, I think that's one component that it just helps. I mean, a phone call is fine too, but I just think that that's also a good
okay.
thing.
I do too, because then you get to see how they respond and just how they are.
Well, yeah, and you can tell if they pause if they're thinking or if they pause because of something else.
Right, okay. That makes more sense.
But it worked out pretty well. We just hopped on and interviewed the person. We didn't really run into any issues, so.
Now, as far as like without being able to contact them, I think we gotta have like at least 3 solid times where we logged that we contacted them or made some kind of contact, left a message, a text, something.
That's a good point.
Yes, because they're gonna be like, well, what happened with these candidates? Why this candidate wasn't interviewed or whatever? So we don't want to run into that, so we can combat that with, a log. At least 3 solid times you tried to get in touch with this person to interview them. And it has to be on both parties' part too, so that's actually 6 times that a person has tried to get in touch with, so there should be how can 6 times nobody being able to get in contact with them? So that can be something tangible that we can do. So that we can have that, at least a number, something to start off with.
Are these just phone calls or are you
No, this is the-
including emails too?
I would say, if we have an email address, if they provided us with it, I would say always send a correspondent email anyway to go and say, hey, I tried to reach out to you at this time. I text your number, I called you and I left a message, just making sure you got it. So you're covering your behind on all ends of the spectrum. Whether you call them or text them, you send them an email to let them know that you called and text them. So then it's a paper trail and we know that, hey, well, email was sent here, on here, and on here, and on here, and on here, and on here. So we should know, they did try to get in contact with you.
So maybe it should be log 3 attempts
By email.
contacting using multiple methods. Because if you send an email 3 times and somebody doesn't check their email,
I would say multiple provided methods, like if multiple methods are provided, like, for instance, if we only get like an email or phone number, we obviously can't reach out another way because we don't have all of the ways to reach
Yeah.
out.
Right. I think that's a good point. Not everybody has or provides an email address or or more or like different phone numbers.
Okay. And when we are choosing, at least when we get the applicants, we should have like a month. Like a solid month, 4 weeks to try to
yeah,
get in touch.
so it was really quick.
Yeah, this one was super quick. I'm so sorry, y'all. I didn't know that it was gonna be that quick and we were just trying to get stuff done before the council. But to put a timeline on it, because I don't want anybody to feel rushed and overwhelmed, a month to try to get in contact with all of these people and all of this stuff before we have our meeting.
And I also think like that what we're saying is kind of procedures, but that is like not written in stone. So like we wouldn't not have done what we've done in order to have recommendations for the council meeting. Because there could be situations where you don't want to have to wait until 3 months, to the July meeting to fill a seat.
Yeah.
But this is like best practices. I mean, it has to be like
Yes.
some extreme situation that we would
Yeah.
not follow.
Right. Yeah, that's why we don't have something in place, because we don't have anything in place. Everybody just winging it, where we don't have any specific thing in place, and we really don't want it to be like that anymore, because it's like you have to retrain and everybody doesn't do everything the same way or whatever. When you talk to, this member, they might do it different, that member might do it different. So to have one uniform thing that we go by and we do when other people are up on here, we just want to just set the tone, and they can change it, if changes need be further on down the line, but at least have them something to go by for right now. So does anybody have any, other things to add on with it?
Do we not have anything in the
No.
laws about membership?
No,
Well,
It just
only
who's
that,
appoints-
only that you'll, yeah, who appoints the committee that you'll put out an ad looking for.
yeah, that's it.
That a membership committee will meet to determine who will be suggested to full council for governor
Mhm.
appointment. But just general.
Okay.
So nothing like a policy procedure trap type
Yeah.
thing. So this is what we're trying to create right now so that we'll have something in place for the future member.
Make sure everybody's paying attention.
Your head was down to it.
So do y'all have like, any other thing that y'all want to add on? This is just something that I was like coming up with, things that, I feel like it needs to be in place, that we need to have some kind of.
Do we need like more clear rubrics so everyone's on the same page of like what a 5, what a 4, what a 3, and what a 2, and what a 1 would be?
Well, it does have it at the top, like for excellent,
Like as defined as it could be, like,
okay,
as a rubric, but I would get for an assignment, for an example, that would tell me how I would get a grade. Like I was thinking something a bit more specific like that.
okay. Like what constitute as a poor, like if the answers were just one dimensional, like they were just like 1 or 2 words or something like that, that's what you're
Something
saying?
that just wasn't really related.
Okay,
Like what you're looking for.
yeah, like a real Rubik, okay.
That way we would all be on the same page of what everything was.
Okay, we could come up with like for each different thing, the number 5, what we think a number 5 should be, all the answers should be detailed, should be, where they know what's going on, what was talked about. The 4 should be like, they have some knowledge, but they don't know about everything.
Maybe for example, this might be what we're looking for, and consider these things.
Right,
But
yeah.
everybody interprets things differently.
Absolutely.
correct.
When considering these candidates in this classification, perhaps we should consider, for example, traits like such as this, or like leadership traits, or
Yes,
personable network, whatever is applicable to the category, I guess.
yes. Okay, I agree with that. So we can, yes, we can come up with, for the number 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, something like what we're looking for, what responses and character, just what we're looking for. And we can put that up on there so that we know how to really rate them. And some of the questions, I'm just being honest, some of the questions are, we gotta shorten them or break them up into 2 because, like number 3 and number 4 upon the additional questions, that can be broke up into 2 questions because every single time on every single applicant that I've had, I have to read it like 3 times. At least 3 times.
So what we did on our interviews, we noticed that, and I'm a visual learner, so using Zoom, I was able to put the question on the screen.
Okay.
And then Vivian and I took turns, reread it, and we had it on the screen. So that, and we did that, it was much clearer.
That helped everyone a lot, so that way it was
Okay.
easy to just process it, because you heard it and you could see it.
Okay, I like that. So maybe we should have that up on there with, especially when it gets up on Zoom, make sure you share the questions
Mhm.
so that they can see it too.
Help the process.
Yes, because like, yeah, we had to read it a couple, 3, 4 times.
And I also think I should have wrote it down at the time, there was like a question. And I realized like, this is really a more appropriate question for a parent. The language, like, I mean, I've been on a membership committee many, many times.
When we talk about,
And it's like, we could make this clearer and more appropriately or fitting for a self-advocate. So maybe like looking at those questions again and really.
Maybe do like a sub part of the question, like what here, this is for this, as this of a self-advocate, as this of a parent, as this of a provider, or like, or an entity, if we have a representative for an entity, or maybe.
And but I think I also think that at the time it was an issue of like, this is like, you have to be someone who like really knows things, like really engaged to answer this. And so it could be a parent and not just a self-advocate that the language just wasn't in the most clearest language or, that level.
Yeah, I think you had to reword that one.
Yeah, and I'll do that sometimes because I try to make the interview of more of a conversation. Nobody wants to go on an interview. Like it's kind of, so I try to like pull it out, in a way that's not giving the answers, but making them feel comfortable. So,
And you
Yeah.
don't remember what particular.
if I saw,
I'm trying to pull it up right now. I'm trying to get it because I know what question she's
You're
talking
gonna
about.
share it on the screen.
Oh, yeah, I
Oh,
could have done
yeah.
that too instead of just.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
Just
if you
Yeah,
pull
the
up
public language.
if you pull up the questions, you will be able to say exactly which one it is, but I know exactly what one she's talking about. because
towards the second part.
It is in the second part, the additional questions, it's like it should be for a parent. Like go down,
Towards the end.
Sorry, this will be a quick scroll. Additional questions?
number 4, I think,
Right in.
yeah. Because that question, number 4, I feel like, yeah, like, versus a day program. A child or somebody that's in that, they don't, what if they don't know what all that is? Or I feel like that is like a more of a parent question.
No, I don't know. If I
Was it
agree.
3 that was the one that you were
R3.
talking about?
That one is kind of.
That one, number 3 is just too long. It's just long.
I think it's because it's giving background information though, like maybe if you
Yeah.
separated the actual question from the background information, whether it's putting the background information in italics or something.
Yeah, maybe so.
Cause it looks like a lot, but it's not, if you
Yeah,
just break
it's
it up.
only the last question, can you support and advocate for these positions? Yeah.
And so like the closure of congregate residential settings, like
Yeah.
that needs
Yeah,
to
that's
be,
difficult to understand.
yeah.
In plain language.
Yeah.
What is that? I'm just gonna ask, what is that?
Like the closing of the big institutions.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I kind of
There
figured
used to
that
be
it was one of those.
several big
Like,
institutions.
to be like that,
Yeah.
Okay,
cause like I know what that is, cause I've heard it before,
Uh-huh.
but.
It's just
maybe
hard to
just
say.
to where-
yeah, I agree. Just better, yeah, modern language.
Yeah. We've been taking some classes and we have a couple coming up about how to make things, the plan and other documents that we share with the council in plain language versions. So, I mean, we can definitely look at this and change.
Yeah,
Or
I
some of
would
the-
say to give the staff let them go through it and come back with making the questions clearer, more understandable, and then we could review it again.
Mhm.
But it wasn't, can you scroll up maybe?
Yeah.
So, more.
Here's one.
Was it in
two
the additional questions? Or you think it was a regular?
I thought that was the one you was asking about with the, percentages and stuff.
I don't know.
Okay, so do we have any, other thing that we want to add on to this? Cause we could we're gonna just draft up, this copy to show the council what we've been working on. As far as, coming up with some policies and procedure, putting in place for the membership council, membership committee.
So we just need to, I guess, make a motion for the staff to compile these items we discussed into a procedure document
Yes,
to be recommended to the council, full council, is that
yes.
appropriate?
Well, I don't know if you really need a motion. I mean, we're just gonna do it. but you
Yeah.
can make a motion if you want.
Yeah,
Okay,
you do that.
and then at the council meeting, when you give the membership report, that will be part of your report that the
Yes.
committee's recommending these procedures, yeah.
And then they list them, we have a list of them already up there, so we can, yeah, all of the stuff that we.
Yeah, just.
Yeah, they'll put it in a doc. Okay, so
Okay.
did you get that motion that we're gonna, yeah, I make a motion that we recommend, the membership committee recommends to the full council. The procedures that we've discussed.
I second the motion.
All right, well, with the motion being second, any objections? All right, motion passes. Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. Do you have any public comment? I'm sorry. All right, well, motion passes. Okay,
And can I ask a clarifying question? As far as like the definitions for the numbers for the rubric, is that something you all want staff to come up with, or were you all gonna come up with the criteria for the scores?
As we were talking about, I was thinking like that almost needs to be like a living document, because I think we'll have
it'll be
more
changed.
examples, but
Yeah,
Another thing we could do is we could have the whole council like comment on it and make it together. If there's time for that.
mm-mm.
never.
Yeah. I don't know, you know how the council meetings go, I don't know.
Yeah, I can tell you.
But most of the time it doesn't.
No, but that's why we're meeting on these committees, so that we could come up with that kind of stuff,
Maybe we could come up with that, like some
Yeah.
examples, but then ask as people are on the membership committee and each time and they give a score.
Yeah, they,
What was the example of what they said?
yeah, and we can kind of like,
And then decide if that's a good example of why did you give it a 4, 3, to whatever you gave?
yeah, you know, that's definitely a good way of doing it. Because it will be a change in living document, and it'll be everybody different experiences every single time. You know, so they'll know, okay, well, look, if this person responded this way, that's a good example, because we've had somebody to respond like that before.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
Well, to take into consideration that responses are gonna vary a lot, a rubric can be more vague than just like an example of a response.
Mhm.
That's why I suggested a rubric, because
yeah,
Mhm.
You don't want to give them a language. They want a copy.
that too.
Yeah, that's true.
So the only thing I would say, the thing they would have to do that specific.
yeah, because they will have some people that are taking care of the
For these types of things.
Fine.
I would give more generalities on it.
This is what you're looking.
Be pretty.
Yeah, and then,
broad.
yeah. Yeah, I think that if we put more like of a overall meaning on the question, that we might put maybe some little example, or not like a whole situation, maybe just like, I don't know.
But if we come back and I say, I gave this person a 5 and was it one of leadership because they are the chair of this disability organization, an active member in this disability organization, and they're on student government at their university, and they are I don't know, the pitcher on their, community softball team.
Mhm.
So that is somebody who that's 4 examples of them being like a leader and a team
In
player.
different places.
Yeah, not just disability, but in the,
In
so
different
like that would be an example
Yeah.
of,
Now, see, that's a good example of what we're looking
Yeah.
for, because it could be a leader or an example in any facet of life, because that's what we're looking for anyway,
right.
you know? So that's a good example. I mean, that's a good notion for us to go by. And when we do the ratings.
Yeah, so you're not saying exactly what it is, or it could be like their supervisor of their unit at their employment, at their, in their employment. So that says that they have that leadership skills as well. So you can have multiple examples.
What if
of
we
leadership.
combine those ideas, like put a broad like sentence of what we want, or like few sentences, and then provide some examples?
Mhm.
This is the kind of thing.
That way it's like crystal clear And like, it's
Yeah,
harder to mistake, because some people will misinterpret things.
yeah. And then like you might have somebody who's like, they are the president of their own little organization and they do a great job in their little organization and not see that they're doing anything with anybody else. But that is some level of leadership,
Yes.
but it's not the same as that person that I said that was, involved in a lot. So, yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that's the way the rubric should look. Is that what you're thinking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because we see the leadership, however, there's not this caliber or this level of it, like one being a little 5 feet flat.
Right.
Mhm.
It's like,
Or one being nothing to like just a tiny.
well, yeah, it's zero, I don't know.
Mhm.
Kind of like.
Yeah,
Maybe they're involved in 2 things or something.
yeah,
You know,
There's
something
a-
like that.
You know, so look at it and think, oh, they have to look for these exact traits.
yeah.
And because it's going to vary widely depending on. who
Right.
you're talking to.
And not to say that like, if they're involved in all of that stuff, that they're just gonna get it because they're involved in all of that stuff.
Mhm.
There are different, yeah, there are different ways to exhibit leadership.
Mhm.
Of how it makes-
Mhm.
or that's you traits.
Like maybe someone isn't in all of these groups, but they do all these things, like they go out and help in the community.
Yeah.
And volunteer.
Servant leadership.
Yeah, because some people don't even realize that they do all of that stuff
Yeah.
until you start talking to them and like, they're talking about what they do in the community, but they didn't even list it because.
And it can be online too.
Right.
There's a lot of ways to-
Mhm.
be social.
Yeah.
Coordination at large.
So what
I
I'm
think like a
going,
5 for leadership would be that you are able to lead an entire group. And you're also able to be a team player on other organizations. Like that's the best component of,
Yeah.
to me in that role, would be
Mhm.
those people that could do.
Every-
Yeah.
Multifaceted.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it's open-minded, that's not just, gonna be specific to their disability.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
needs to apply to, because you're.
Yes,
Different types.
might not even be working on anything that has to do with what you have going on, but it's been something that they've been working on for a long time, so we can take that into consideration too. So what I suggest that, we give ourselves, because I know the council meeting is next week, then we have another 3 months until we meet again, well, with the full council. So in between that, the 3 months that we're waiting, in the middle, probably, I want to say, let's see, and the next one is October, right?
Yeah, July.
July. So maybe in June, we can reconvene to do all our ratings and have something in place where we can have it and add it to the document so that we have a more clearer, rubric of how we're gonna rate people in the ratings. So we can do it like that, so that it give everybody enough time to, come up with what they think number 1, 2, and 3 should be. We all come together, discuss what we have, and we can compile something and have our rubric ready to go for the next time.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So we'll push out the advertisement that we're still recruiting applicants for the institutionalized seat on the council.
Yes, we gotta be specific,
Right.
because that's what we're specifically looking for.
So do you all want to meet before the July meeting to select that individual?
Yeah, like to me,
Okay.
up in that June meeting, all of that needs to be done.
So yeah, that's why, this is the question I'm really trying to ask. So
Okay,
do you
okay.
want to have this in place before y'all have y'all's next actual membership committee meeting to discuss?
I think we need to, so that.
At the same meeting.
Yeah,
Okay,
What that would mean is if you have multiple people to interview for the institutional facility seat, your rubric would still look how it does now.
right.
Because you wouldn't have made those changes to it yet. You wouldn't
Oh,
have
no.
adopted those
That
changes.
We would just have those policies and procedures.
About it all.
Mhm.
To get there, but it's a process.
Right, so that's okay if we don't have that part in
In
place,
place,
you know,
okay.
to pick out, because we didn't have that in place to pick these other people.
Mhm.
So this whole round, that'll be okay that we don't have it
Okay.
this time, because we are working on it. It's not like we're not working on it. We're actively working on the document and how we want the procedures and everything to flow. So we can we can go ahead and do our selection at the same time that we're adapting the rest of these things. We could do it all in one stop. And just put
At the
our
June
agenda,
meeting.
yes,
Okay,
at the June meeting.
okay.
Um, so once we put that, the communication out, that gives us a month to get people in. You think that's enough time for people to apply? How long do y'all usually leave it up?
It depends. I mean, a lot of times you push it out and you get responses within the first week or two, and then you don't really get much after that.
Oh,
But this is a little different because I think we're gonna have to reach out to the ombudsman. And we might have to reach out to support coordinators again.
Mhm.
It'll just depend on how long it takes to get some response back from that. So
okay.
hopefully within a month, we will get some.
So if we don't, if we're not able to get enough applicants or a good pool of applicants in by our June meeting, because we need to have it in at least by May. Yeah, because we gotta do the interviews and all of that other good stuff.
Mhm.
So we gotta have it in like the first week of May. Yeah, well, yeah, second week of May. And then that'll give us enough time to interview everybody for that let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 weeks. And then the second or third week of June, we can meet.
Okay.
So yeah, we go ahead and push everything out, get it out right now.
And we can
Right.
start to recruit, like Amy said, there are parents that are rolling off later this year.
Mhm.
We can start the recruitment for those members now, and they just wouldn't start until those council members that are on now, their term ends. I think, we have somebody coming up in November
How old do you have to be?
to sit on the council.
Yeah,
Oh, wait,
There's no age limit.
for real?
Yeah.
I used to have a group home.
I wanna say Vivian is our youngest.
I'm 17 right now. I turned 17 on March 13th.
Okay,
How old were you when you were appointed?
I was like 14 or 15.
oh, you were young. Okay, yeah.
Relative to
I
us.
love
we're
it.
old.
I mean, I think we need that. I think we do need that whole section of youth because they need to know like how things go. So, you know, they don't just come in blind when you get into these, when you get older and you start knowing like, oh, this one was chosen. Oh, we could have been doing this. You know?
I had advocated with LaCam before and Robert actually said I could do this. So I saw the thing, I'm like, oh hey, I can apply for that, and I did, and this happened. So hi.
Okay.
And I think with
It's testifying when.
with YLF, with Youth Leadership Forum, we'll
Right.
probably get some good young
Yeah.
people too, I'm hoping.
Well, and there's a need for college level involvement too.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the section that misses.
If we get involved in college, then we're more apt to involve adults
Yeah.
and not just the parent perspective of things, but the self-advocacy while you're in school is it's extremely different perspective
Mhm.
for the processes than what the parent is seeing and what the parent experiences, because nobody knows their.
Right.
And then when you get to college, it's the whole accommodations, totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
And then you have the pie programs and all of that.
So we're all the way down to like closing remarks. But yeah, because we've already covered everything upon our agenda. What we're gonna do to council, all that's been discussed. So we're gonna bring to the council that we recommend the three people.
Tony
Ms.
Piantek, Mary Francis
and
Avera.
Ms. Lauren. Okay, so we're gonna send their recommendation to them. We're also gonna let them know that we've been working on our policies and procedures, at least have something in place to let them know, hey, this is a working document, this is what we have now. And that we're gonna open up the keep the seat open for our federal law that we're required to fill. So that's our final recommendations. And
Can I make one more motion? If for any reason, any of these three that we are recommending cannot serve, then we would recommend that Pam Darby be considered to fill.
I
any
second
vacant
that.
position.
All right, so with Bambi, motion that if any of the other candidates cannot fill the position that, what's her name?
Pam Darby.
Ms. Pam Darby be recommended for council, and it was second by Ms. Vivian. Any objections? All right, well, motion passes, and we'll bring that also to the council. We'll add that part in there to the council.
Got it.
All right, if there's nothing else that anyone has to say, the meeting is adjourned. Oh, yeah, we're done. Oh, sorry. By unanimous consent.